Today's day, the Sloth and I are going to a bunch of different drive-thrus because, well, it's one of the only things you can do during a pandemic. We said toodaloo to Mother Goose and the baby lion, and off we go. As we're walking to the car, the Sloth turns around, says dibs on driving. She hops in, turns it on, a bunch of different lights appear. She feels like she's about to fly a plane, and as always, I low-key fear my life. Before we start our action-packed adventure, I may or may not have promised the Sloth a little favor, so it's time to go to a random apartment, and hopefully we get access to the underground parking lot. Now, you're probably wondering, what in the world are we up to? Well, I didn't know this, but apparently the new trend on Instagram is to take pictures at an underground parking lot. So there we are standing at the garage like two strangers making small talk, hoping a car comes by so we can finally get in. I see a camera and I'm like, there's no way they don't think this looks sketchy. Finally, a car comes by. They awkwardly make eye contact with us as we follow them inside of the garage. The place looks like a ghost town and I'm just counting down the seconds until the security guard shows up and kicks us out. I spot a car that was extremely questionable. I easily took over 200 pictures of the Sloth. Only 3 of them got approved and only 1 of them made it to the gram. Anyways, it was finally time to start the actual mission. Low-key, I was surprised we didn't get caught. It was time to head back into the car. The Sloth again beats me to the driver's seat, and it was time to go to the first drive-thru, the most Canadian place on planet Earth, Tim Hortons. Now, we didn't really know what we want, so we asked the lady to give us the best looking / tastiest thing they have, and they ended up giving us a cheesecake donut, and let me tell you, there were no complaints there. Together, we gave it a 7.2 out of 10. There was honestly nothing wrong with it. It was actually super delicious. It was just a little too sweet, so 1 was more than enough. On to our second stop. You may have heard of it. It's called McDonald's. The little donuts looked amazing, but the Sloth was craving their iconic salty fries and a vanilla milkshake, and to no coincidence, that's exactly what we ended up getting. So we're about to dip the fries into the milkshake, realize we're about to make a massive mess in the car, and I'm like, wait a second, why don't we just take a sip of the milkshake and then have a couple of fries? Overall, the experience was rated a 9.3 out of 10, although our stomachs definitely didn't agree moments later, but hey, we live in the moment, and it was time to go to our next stop, Starbucks. Now, when we go to Starbucks, the Sloth's the professional simply because she literally spends over 5 minutes giving this guy a life story on how she'd like her drink. I felt bad, so I told the guy I'd get the exact same thing. We also got something called the cake pop because apparently they're really good and I've never tried one before, but we said cheers, gave it a little swirly swirl, took a sip, and my god, this thing was delicious. Could have been one of the most refreshing things I've ever had in my entire life. Then it was time to try the cake pop. Presentation was easily a 10 out of 10. This thing literally tasted better than it looked. Like, these guys just do an amazing job at everything. Fortunately, at this point, the pork heart's starting to look like a dump because of all the different things we've ordered, and our tummies don't feel too well because we've had a little bit of everything. The Sloth gets a little comfortable and it's time to do what she does best, take a power nap. Quickly gave her a motivational speech to pull through. We had 1 drive-thru left. Pull up to Wendy's, go to the drive-thru. We were conflicted. Do we get a poutine or do we get a regular fry? There I am, casually taking the drink out of the drink holder to put the fry into the drink holder, and that's when we knew we had a little too much to eat today. I'm stuck with all this trash on my lap, wondering how did I even possibly get here, but it was finally time to go home and open the door to the baby lion. Out comes the fluffy beast, more excited than ever, wondering where we've been, but more importantly, did we potentially get him a treat, or even better yet, a toy for him to play with? Of course, we got Mother Goose patiently waiting at the door, waiting for her 2 little ducks to get home safely, as most concerned parents do. We got the baby lion confused, sniffing my jacket, wondering why does it smell like so many different things at once, and it's time for the Sloth and I to enter that long-awaited food coma.